Hi all, this is Lynn with Paper Life, and I am attempting to try a new camera setup and new lighting. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be loving this, and I don't know how well I'm in view most of the time. So what I wanted to work on today was basically a travel journal setup. This will probably be more of a start to finish how to make one. I've tried to record this video a couple times, so at this point we're gonna kind of start on one journal I have, or one insert that I still haven't done. I'm gonna be using the Wildflower kit, my newest digital journal. Sorry, we were doing oil changes on cars today, so my fingernails are greasy. I didn't realize that till now. Okay, back on point. So with this kit, it's basically set up where you can print it front to back, trim it down, and it'll be 6 3/4 by 3 3/4, which is your standard personal size travel journal. One of the things I like to do when I'm putting these together to trim them down is I fold them over and I just do a real light fold on them. You know, they're not folded real tight, real strong. Same thing, just a real light fold. I'll put them together. My kiddos are making dinner at the moment and they are trying not to interrupt too much. But with that being said, I told them not to worry about it too much. Real light fold. So again, it's not a super tight fold. I'm going to put these together. Now at this point, I'm going to give it a real nice tight seam fold, whatever you want to call it. And the reason for that, one, this booklet is crazy big. You may not want to go this big with it, but that's what I'm doing. But the reason for that is it just makes it where you don't have as much of a hangover on the side. One of the things I prefer to do with this kit, at least, is I'm going to trim down my 3 3/4 with my cover being on here. Okay, so let's see. We got 3/4 right about here. And I'll show you here in just a moment kind of why I do that. So this video is probably going to be our less than entertaining one, because there's not going to be a whole lot of new stuff I'm going to be showing you. I did print my cover front to back, so we have these little pages which I'm going to keep to the side just so I might use them later. Okay, so the next thing I like to do is I actually like to remove my inside papers and set those to the side. I like to take my cover, and now at this point I'm going to basically make this my desired size. Guys, you don't have to stress the noise that much, okay? I think everybody's used to me being weird by now. So, let's see. So I'm now cutting this 6 3/4 like that. Now if you remember, my pages I haven't actually cut yet, and here's why. I can now line up my cover with where I want to cut my paper, because I made these pages larger than what they needed to be, and the reason behind that was so I could try to take into consideration most people's printers. This one is not overly crucial on, but here's the yearly that I did. And you know, you don't want to cut off all your dates. So that's kind of why doing your signature this way is helpful, I guess. But I'll show you my other little cheat to this. At this point, I'm not going to worry about measuring where I'm cutting it at. I'm going to make sure that my pages are lined up with my cover where I would like to cut them. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ruler on my cover itself. The reason I'm doing this is in case, let's say I cut this like an 18th of an inch short. You know, the cover is a little bit smaller than the pages. You won't notice. I won't notice, at least as bad. So thank you guys for being patient. I'm sure this is going to be a learning curve to figure out where I want the camera at, lighting, because I'm even on a completely different style of light setup, which I'm hoping is not horrible. I need to change my blade. Bear with me for just a second. I think I have a new box of razor blade tips floating around here somewhere. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now, if you have a paper cutter that's strong enough to go through all these layers, by all means, use that. If you want to trim these down individually, go for that. Go with whatever works for you, however you like to do it. And checking to make sure I'm kind of in view. Okay, looks like I'm good. I'm basically showing you how it works for me, and everybody's different. Okay, that's a much cleaner cut right there. I'm trying to sneak this in as my husband's out mowing the grass. It's just always things to do around here. Okay, try to brush away all my little scrap pieces. So in earlier videos that I did not show you because they were not working out, I went through and I did another, just one that's for writing, journaling, stuff like that. I have my weekly layout. This is not one that you have to use my kit for or anybody's kit for. You can do this with just regular paper if you want. I do want to explain briefly about how I did my yearly, because I'm not sure how many people do a yearly setup like this, and I'm actually going to stand up. See, they print nice and on both sides, so you can just make it easy on yourself and do that. Okay, so traditionally speaking, I'm used to seeing a calendar like this that has your little boxes laid out. Now the thing I don't love about those is when I fold it in half and, you know, it's a little signature. It's like I gotta move the book to write on it the right way. So the way I like to do it, now I know I'm weird, we all know this by now, is I actually do kind of a lined version. So if, let's say I have a doctor's appointment, I can just write, I have an appointment on the 1st at, let's say, 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. because no one's ever open at 10 p.m. So it just gives me a little spot that I can write in, but when I'm writing on it, I don't have to move my book around. I know, weird about that. Okay, so I showed you that. Let's get back to these doohickeys. One of the things I think I'm going to do with this, and I believe it's going to be a helpful tip, at least I hope it's going to be helpful. I know we all love our Tim Holtz Distress ink, and I do. I like it a lot. I like the fact that it comes in a lot of different colors, a lot of vibrant colors. But in this one, I didn't want real bold, bright colors. I guess because it's kind of spring around here, I wanted the lighter, funner colors. So these are actually, I believe I picked them up from Michael's. It might have been Walmart. They're Studio G. Hold on one second. They're Studio G pigment ink, just in with the stamp pads. Now I found that the pigment ink is a lot better than the ink pads. I think they call them ink, and I might be missing something there. It could be something called more than just regular ink. I like the pigment. It takes a little bit longer to dry. It gives me a little more time to move it around and distress with it. I'm going to grab this purple one. That's what I use to distress around these edges. Again, you are there with me, you just don't know it. Let's do the yearly one, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. Now there's a couple different tips I want to give on this. One is to have like a baby wipe, a paper towel, something like that to wipe your hands with. This ink does take just a little bit longer to dry. And the best way I can describe it is almost like it's liquid chalk in consistency. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. It's just, it takes it just a little bit longer to dry. The reason I like to have a paper towel is for my hands, because if I get some on my hands, I'm always worried it's gonna want to get on other things while I'm doing it. So I'm just distressing around my edges of my cover. Now I didn't do any of this printing on coffee stained or tea dyed paper. It was really kind of a toss-up if I wanted to or not, but I figured doing this way really showed how easy it could be. You know, nothing intimidating, nothing that's like, oh yay, I gotta go through another whole step. Nope, this is easy. Easy peasy. Now, one of the things I did on this one was, okay, this one already has them rounded so I can show you. I had a little bit of ink left over, so all I did was went around the top just to kind of give them some color. I don't know. It made it pretty, I thought. If you didn't, then don't do it. Okay, so that's kind of that. Throughout this project, I believe I'm going to be using these 3 colors. They unfortunately don't really give me a color number or anything, but this is like a bluish teal, a purple, and then this is like a light purplish pink. I also found this green one, and I may use it, I'm not sure. So I'm trying to make sure I got you guys caught up to where I was in all the other videos I tried to do. Again, this was I don't know if I want to, or I don't want to, or I want to, but I decided to go ahead and round my corners. Since I'm going to be doing this like a travel journal with elastic, I do recommend having, well, you need at least one in there, obviously. I usually like about 3, but of course that's up to you. This is the We Are Memory Keeper Crop-A-Dile tool. I really like it, mostly because I'll go through a lot of pages at the same time. So my hope is with these videos is that I'm going to be able to do a lot more of it with you. I'm sure we will have homework because, well, nobody wants to sit around and watch me distress a million edges. Like I said, this is going to be really the boring part because all you're going to be doing right now is getting your signatures together. But then when we get back together again, we'll be working on decorating a little bit. I can tell you now, I believe a lot of my decorations are going to be kept really simple. The point behind this is to be able to throw it in my purse, jot down little daily things, keep a planner with me, all that good things. So having it super bulky is probably not what I'll attempt to go with. I'm going to say attempt because, well, it never quite works out the way I want it to. With things not working out the way I wanted them to, the reason that I feel like I do it backwards from a lot of people on really just any journal, and that's because I want to make my signatures first and then make my cover to fit it. Because no matter how much I think, oh, I'm only going to do this much, by the time I get done, it is so much bigger than that. So after having to redo a lot of covers, I have learnt to just wait and do those afterwards. Besides that, by the time I get done, I'm like, I don't even want that kind of cover. I want a different kind. So usually I do my pages and then I'll go back and make my cover. The only downside I do not love about the Crop-A-Dile is that you have to clean out these little hopper things where all your little bits and pieces go a lot. I mean, I guess it would be great if I just wasn't impatient and didn't want to do that part. So at this point, because I've had to do this video a couple times, I have 4 signatures. I may actually, I'm going to pull a couple of these out in the middle just so it's not so big. I'll probably end up removing more. Your ideal number, and I say ideal because it's always up to your own personal taste, is usually anywhere from 5 to 10 pages in a signature. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I didn't do too bad. That one's actually only 9. I should be impressed. I don't know how many that one's going to be. That one's not very thick. This one's going to be 9 as well, because there's 8 different images to the calendars, and I printed them twice, so there was one on the front and back, and I don't want to count that one. Okay, so I did the other day go through and cut a bunch of the ephemera, just so it wouldn't be like sitting here watching paint dry. What I want to do with some of these pockets, God, I feel like my fingers are going to look so nasty in this video, is put them on the inside covers. So especially on my yearly and my weekly, so that if I have something I need to remember for that week, I can just tuck it in there. Or for the year, I can just put it in there. So I'm not going to completely finish this on camera right now, because I do want to sew down the top edge. I attempt to, and I say attempt because, you know, I'm sure there's times I don't do it. I attempt to make these kits as versatile as I can. Give as many options, because just because I wanted something a certain way doesn't mean you do. So what I want to do is, this little flap right here just needs to be trimmed just a little bit. If you were laying it down like that, you would be fine, but I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to nip a little bit off, and then it's nice and covered like that. With these envelope or little tucks, they're really great for if you want, you know, a little character on a page. You can make it like a 2-tuck. I've seen one of the girls that I really enjoy, she'll basically put it on 2 sides, so you have a tuck here, and then it'll give you a pocket on this side. I think I want to be different, and what I'm going to do, and I'm not even going to really measure this, but to give you an idea, would be maybe 1/2 inch. I'm just going to trim that off. I'm going to nip this corner up here. I'm going to nip this corner down here. And let's see, do I need to go back? Yep, I need to remove a little bit more. That one looks fairly good, and I need to cut up here. I just, when I nipped that corner, didn't nip it as much as I needed to, or I should have. Okay, so now out of that pocket, I've made a little tuck. And keep this. You can make it, use it for a journaling card. I think the great thing about having these in the cover will be, I made these little doodads. Again, I hope I'm in view. Made these little doodads to go in there, and it has the task. It has 1 through 31 on there, and this was something that I actually got from a planner style called Bullet Journals. And let me grab a pen. I'm guessing a lot of you know about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and share it. What I like to do is write the month on the top, just so I have it there. And what you want to do is write down tasks that you do every single month. So I may write down clean kitchen. So this becomes almost like a monthly to-do list. Something that you're doing all the time, every week, blah, 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 never gets done. So if I do it, let's say on the 5th, I'd cover in the box. And let's say I do it on the 8th, I cover in the box. It just kind of, instead of writing the same boring things down on our to-do list every single day, where it's like, oh my gosh, does laundry ever get done? This just gives you a running monthly, here's what needs to be done. So what I did was I cut down a bunch of them, and let's say in my weekly, if my little tuck was there, I could just take all my blank weeklies, tuck them in there, and then I have them with, take all my tasks, my blank ones, tuck them in there, so that whenever I need to fill one out, I can just put it in where it needs to go. I'll tell you what, none of my animals want to hold it together at the moment. I have chickens outside making all kinds of noise. I got my dog out there barking up a storm. Sorry, I'm throwing stuff at me. I really want to try that green. So I'm going to try the green. Yeah, see, I pulled my sponge off and I got some on my fingers. That's usually when I get it. I don't know, like I said, I really like working with them. I know with the distressed inks, we all have a problem finding certain colors sometimes. So this just allows you to have a bunch of colors on hand. So let's try this green. I didn't test it beforehand, so it might be like, ew, that's way too bright. I don't think that's bad. I'm just going to try to do it lightly because I don't want that super dark. Yeah, sorry, I'm guessing you guys can hear the lawnmower going around, the dogs, the chickens. Man, my kids were really quiet when they were out here. It's just welcome to my crazy house. There is just always something going on. I'm going to give this a little distressing. When I did my ephemera, when I printed it out, I also printed it two-sided. Just because if I decide to use something as a journaling card, I don't have to worry about, oh, yay, I have a white side if it shows. I don't know, whatever. I know I should be better about being okay with white, but I'm not okay with white. Let's just establish that. I do not want white pages in my journals. So yeah, when this is all done, it'll get glued right there like that. I'm also having very much a inner fight with myself because I love lace, but I am going to try to keep it on the minimal side, let's say. So I'm trying not to go too crazy with it. However, that won't work out as planned. Have all these little doodads of lace scraps that I kind of cut out to, well, pull together to see what I liked. And I feel like I'm going to be using a lot more of the lace on the pockets and not on the sides as much. And that's just because when I make the cover, I want it to be able to fold over that without being too bulky, I guess. So I have a little piece of this white lace. I think I'm just going to do a nice little white lace. Set that to the side. My tacky glue. I'm just going to run a bead down it. Now this is one of those things that you would not need to go back through and sew it by any means. We're using the tacky glue, which is like a permanent glue. You don't have to worry about it. We're using Fabri-Tac, which is a permanent glue, and you would not have to worry about it. Even with the tacky glue, you wouldn't have to worry about it. I'm just going to, because I gotta have some sewing in here. There has to be some sewing, please. Trim that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Like that. So, what do we think? Is my tuck cute? Do we like it? Do we accept it? Does it work okay? I think I like that. I think I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to set this to the side so it can dry. I'm going to try to look in here. And, sorry, the momentary, where's my husband going? Oh no, is he going to bust me out? Here, pause for just a second. Okay, I went and quickly closed the living room window so I wouldn't have to hear the mower, but I can do this for just a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. I know. The things we do. No, actually, I just went in and had some work done today at the doctor's, and I'm supposed to be taking it easy, but that's no fun at all. So I'm doing this instead. So I'm sneak crafting. Shh, nobody tell on me. And I'm just going to run a little bit of lace down. Now I pulled the lace in quite a bit just so I didn't have to, I didn't have it sticking out so far. I know I'm not loving that. I want the lace to be sticking out farther. But if we make it all about the lace, then the cover is not going to work. All these problems. I grabbed a piece of wax paper that has been used for painting on and other things. But the great thing is I can move right on and not worry about that being wet. I'm going to cut this because it's enough to do the other side as well. And I'm going to run a little bit of glue down this side. And to be honest, I probably should have distressed these edges before I put the lace on here. But you know what? Whatever. Maybe I'll just do that pink and then I can distress right over the lace and you'll never notice. Alright, I'm trying to kind of figure out where I had this one laid down on the other one. So that both of them are about the same distance. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. And it probably wouldn't even drive me crazy. But yeah, there we go. I mean, it's not a lot of lace. It's just more peeking out more than anything else. Now with having the rounded corners, I'm going to have a more interesting time sewing it. I think all I'm really going to do is on the lace sew straight down, and I'm not going to worry about if the lace is completely all the way down to the edge. On these covers I'll sew all the way around it, but I don't know. We'll figure that out as it comes, right guys? No one said I had a master plan before I started this. Alright, how much more time do I have before he's done? Tell you what, I need to get that guy like a push mower or something. He can do that way too fast. I don't know if I approve. Okay, so at this point the mower just kicked off, so I'm going to talk to all of you guys later. Have a good day. I'll try to record another one of these on Wednesday, kind of adding some more stuff to them. I have some of the blank pages that I've printed out, so we can add those in as embellishments. But I'll see you guys all later. Bye.